Hey everyone, this is the newest edition of Hey Nice Beard. Today we have Scott Sykora with us. He is one of the premier, he started doing the online recording for like interviews and stuff like that. Uh, let's see. All right, here he is. We'll unmute him. All right, all you gotta do is unmute.
I'm unmuted, boy.
All right, Scott, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for having me tonight. I
Thanks for
greatly
coming on.
appreciate it.
Gotta
Oh,
say, hey, nice beard.
hey, thank you. You too. If I could only see the rest of you have it all tied up, and it's like, look at that.
Yeah,
Very
I
nice.
with the baby, he just grabs onto it and pulls. Like he uses it to lift himself up. So my cheeks are
That's
getting really thin right now because it's like
that's
the
where the
easiest.
if you didn't know, that's where they derived the name handlebar mustache because that's why it was invented because the little kids would grab onto it to pull themselves up, and it was like the guys would be like handlebars. That's where it came from.
Is that true?
No,
No, not at all.
not at all.
So why don't you tell us what you do for a living?
Well, I am a welding inspector for a nuclear power plant. That is not true. I just thought it would be funny to say that, but I have a doctorate in squeegeology. I've gone to about 22 years of schooling. I am a window washer. I use a squeegee, but yeah, I've been a window washer for over 22 years. Work for a family company. Um, it's not the most glamorous job in the world, but it's bought my house. It's given me a lot of great things in my life. It's also given me the ability to have a lot of alone time where in my head where it's when you're working at a job that you have to like constantly think if you're doing data entry or you're doing like all sorts of like really kind of like mindful things, like my job's not like that at all. It's just a complete brain dead job, and it's just I've washed millions and millions and millions of windows, and it's just I go through the motions every day. And for me, it's just over the years it's kind of like really gotten into my head where it's like uh and that's kind of led me to the whole thing of where I'm at right now with doing the podcasting stuff and everything like that. So I mean, it's just I discovered podcasting, and it was a way for me to like kind of uh lose that brain deadness of work where it gave me something to listen to like all day long, and listening to music and stuff like that. And it was like that's what I originally would just listen to. I got an iPod when they first came out. I would just listen to music all day long because I'm just bebopping around. And then I discovered the whole world of podcasting, and I'm like, wow, I can actually like learn something like while I'm working, and like it's like multitasking. So that's, I mean, pretty much in a nutshell, my job is just a pretty boring, bland, vanilla kind of thing. But I mean, I like it a lot. I mean, I get to see a lot of cool things. I get to experience a lot of really nice people. We do a lot of very extremely high end houses. So I get to work for very influential people in society and get to kind of know them in a different way than most people get to know them. And um, it's really cool. It's a very fulfilling job. I really like it a lot. And then I went to trade school for 6 months and decided that I wasn't going to work on other people's cars. I wanted to only work on mine. The end.
Yeah, I worked at a door manufacturer where they do like the sliding doors for like U-Haul and garages and stuff. And I
Yeah.
worked in the crating department. We weren't allowed to wear earphones. So I had this little like clip-on speaker that I would keep on me, and I would listen to like NPR all day long. And everyone knew that between the hours of 1 and 2 was the BBC News Hour, and you did not talk to me during the BBC News Hour because I would lose it. You could bug me all the rest of the day, but if you interrupted the BBC News Hour, you were probably getting shot at with a nail gun.
I will tell you what though. I mean, I like NPR. I mean, it's great for information and stuff like that, but when you really want to know what's going on in the world, you really kind of have to reach outside of the United States. So like going with like BBC or any of those you know Canadian news network or any of that stuff, like if you really want to know what's going on in the United States, those are the ones you really want to watch. Like you
Yeah,
learn so much more about what's actually going on.
yeah. I used to listen to, like, I paid so much attention to Vice, and then they just turned so far left wing that I was like, I need to find something else. So I just primarily started listening to BBC because they were pretty much hitting the nail on the head with all their information.
A lot of carpentry shows.
A lot of carpentry shows, a lot of restoration of old antiques from like the 16th century.
With little jazz interludes in between.
So,
Geez.
how long have you had the goatee?
Well, that's a tough one because this specific one I've had since March 1st of 2009. Prior to that, I had one for 6 years. And prior to that, I've kind of always had one on and off, but in I want to say 2002, 2003 is like when I was just like, screw it, I'm just going for it. And I just like started letting it go, and it just kind of kept growing and growing, and I didn't really think much of it. And then it just started getting longer and longer, and I just kind of kept letting it go. And in fact, I was kind of mostly inspired by my friend Steve Shalati, who he's the drummer for Immolation death metal band out of New York, and we grew up together. And he always had like a nice long goatee, and I was always like, gotta grow and gotta grow. And so then him and I would race, and we'd be like, who could grow in longer, who could grow in longer. And I would always just quit, and he would just always grow his. And you know, we were in bands together, and we would always be going to shows together. And I would always be like, God darn it, Steve. I'm like, your beard's just so much better than mine. He's like, just let it grow. And it's pretty much, I was like, all right, screw it. And I finally beat him. I was like, he finally just like cut his, and mine was like growing. And so I was like, at that point, I'm like, well, what's the point of cutting it at this point? It's like, if I cut it, I'm gonna have to start all over again. And it was starting to get really long. I didn't know how to take care of it. I mean, back in the mid 2000s, there wasn't like mom and pop like beard oil, beard balms here and there. There was like nothing. Like you really had to search far and wide to find any type of like beard care product. I didn't. I just used regular shampoo, brushed it all the time, and it just like pulled all the dead hairs out of my brush all the time, because it was just over the years just kept thinning out, thinning out, thinning out. I couldn't get it to, I could get it to grow long. I couldn't get it to get thick because it was just kept falling out. So that was like 2009. And I said, you know what, at this point, I'm like, it was just shy of probably 18 inches. And I'm like, screw it, I'm cutting it off, and I'm just going to start again. And that was pretty much March 1st, 2009, I started growing it again, and just grew it. And I'm like, I'm not going to mess. I'm not going to braid it. I'm not going to use crappy stuff in it. I'm just going to let it grow and try to take care of it as best as I could. And then that was about 2011 is when I discovered that there was this thing called beard competitions. So then it was all off to the races.
Dude, I just had a mini panic attack because the recording button in my top corner disappeared for a second. And I kind of went, oh no. And then I looked, I'm like, oh, did I even record any of this? But I did, so we're good. But for a split second, I saw my eyes go, oh.
I've been having that problem lately myself. Like I actually, my problem is my SD cards on my recorder, like run out halfway through the show. And I'm like, gosh darn it. Thankfully though, we use StreamYard and it records everything anyways, and it stores it for 15 days. So I can just go back and download it, and it's all good.
Nice.
Video and audio.
So you've been competing since about like 2011 then?
Yeah, 2011, 2012. I take that back. I've actually been competing since like about 2005, 2006. That whole story is the town I live in, Chardon, Ohio, has this thing called the Maple Festival every spring. And as far as I can research back through, I went to the library, went through all the history of the Maple Festival and stuff. They've actually had a beard and mustache competition for the last 60 or 70 years. And it originally started off that they would have guys come up and they would judge them on their beards. And then after that, they'd have this guy with an axe and he would shave them. And as time's gone on and everything, they still did the two things, but then they just kept them separate, where they would just have guys would grow their beard and be like, that would be the guy that would get his face shaved by the guy with the axe. And then the other guys would just have their beards and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Over the years, it kind of was like they'd have it, they wouldn't have it, they'd have it, they wouldn't have it. And I remember in high school watching it and stuff like that. But in the mid 2000s though, I was like, my friends would be like, oh, you got to go do that. And I'm like, all right, I'd go and do it. I'd win every year for like 3 or 4 years in a row. And it was just like, all right, to me, that was the whole world. That was where my whole like beard competition thing was. Like, that's the wall here and the wall there. There was nothing else. I didn't know anything about it. I was the guy that like was very self-conscious about having a beard, because everywhere I went, people would point at me. People would always ask me, hey, how long have you been growing? Just a super annoying. Whereas nowadays it's just more socially acceptable. And if I go outside of my town, then yeah, I still get it every now and then. But back then it was just like, it was annoying. People just, it's like, pointing at you like this and that. But yeah, so I'd competed in all those years in this thing, and it got to the point where I was like, it really wasn't anything, because it was like the same guys, and I kept winning, and I was just like, whatever. And so once I had started getting into my first actual competition, I got approached by the organizers for the Maple Festival, to actually take over running the Maple Festival beard and mustache competition. So I've been organizing it and running it since about 2000 and I think 13 or 2014. So, but yeah, that was pretty much, I had started at that, but my first actual competition was the Cleveland Beard Off. If you can see that sign right behind me, but that was doesn't even say the date on there. March 21st, 2012. That was my first one ever. I had no idea about competitions. My girlfriend she's like, hey, she found this thing online. She's like, there's a beard competition coming. She's like, we should do it. I'm like, all right. So I ended up going to this thing, had no idea what to expect. And I met some guys there, and they were like, I was like, wow, there's people like me, guys with big beards, and they're super nice. They're really cool. They're coming up and talking to us. They're like in clubs. I'm like, what's a club? I don't know what that is. And, super nice guys. And everyone's inviting me, hey, you should come to our club meeting. Hey, we're doing this, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really not into this. I'm like, I've had a beard for, on and off for the past like 15 years. I'm like, this really isn't my thing. I'm just whatever. And I ended up winning. So then that was like the hook. It was like, oh boy, okay, when's the next one? And these guys were like, all right, we're having one in like 3 weeks. And I'm like, all right, I got to go to this one. So that I went to that one. And that was where I met pretty much everyone. Like all my friends that I have now, they were all there. This is like 2012. And I also won that one. So it was like my first 2 competitions. I was like, holy crap. Like, this is really kind of cool. I came up with some really cool trophies. I've made some really cool friends. I see these guys that I've seen on this TV show called Whisker Wars. I'm like, wow, like I feel like this is pretty cool. This is something I want to do. And that's pretty much how I got all started in it.
So have you ever done freestyle?
Closest I've ever done to it was in Louisville, Kentucky, or as Aaron would call it, Louisville. They have a really cool category, partial beard, styled mustache. Not a lot of clubs have that category. No, was it there? No, it was Indiana. Don't remember, but
not Louisville.
Not Louisville. But they do have that category there. But they had at the competition in Indiana, they had beard styled mustache. but all the other guys had full beards and I was the only one that had a partial beard. And so I had Natalie help me do an English style mustache. That was about the closest I've ever done. Other than that, I've like messed around and tied it in knots and put clips in it and this and that. That's about as freestyle as I've ever gone. I'm not exactly sure that that's my game. I don't think I'm that creative. I could be. I really never put the time into it. I mean, never say never, and it could eventually lead to that. But I mean, I'd probably rather do a completely different style than invest time into freestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you have to have so much patience. Like what was it? The Portland no RVA's competition. I ended up having to wash out my entire beard because I tried to do this Celtic knot, but I couldn't figure out how to make it all into like one copacetic loop.
Flowing.
Yeah, so I was just like, forget it. So I ended up like washing it all out and starting over. And I ended up taking third in that competition, but like I'll sit there, like I'll shampoo, lather up my beard really good, and I'll sit there and like come up with new ideas of angles and shapes and stuff I can do with mine.
Yeah, I do the soap shampoos, or the soap horns in the shower and stuff like that, and I laugh and I'm like, oh, I could do this, and I'm like, nah, you know what? No.
So, what other hobbies do you have besides bearding?
Oh my God. So that's countless, limitless. Of course, podcasting. I mean, that's the whole thing that really has kind of got me as far into the whole bearding thing as I am. I mean, I enjoyed the competition side of the thing, but it was like I was meeting so many like really awesome people out there and was listening to a lot of podcasts. Like I said, I mean, I average about 4, 5, 6 hours a day of listening. So I'm subscribed to about 70 or 80 different podcasts, and I just listen. I'm just nonstop. And I just I did college radio for a brief while. And after that, I had done some more college radio. I did not attend the college, but I got asked to guest on a show. So I did it for a while. So I had a mild radio career, and I'd always liked being on air and stuff like that. And I kind of was like, well, maybe I should just do a podcast. But I'm like, what am I going to do a podcast about? At the time, and still and always, I've been heavily into like ufology, paranormal stuff, and was listening to a lot of stuff like that. I mean, I have like over 200 books in my collection of all that kind of stuff, alien abduction, sightings, all that stuff. And so I was like, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I want to do a podcast all about that. So I spent like a couple months researching on how to do podcasting, building a website, blah, blah, blah. And like, I'm getting ready to start recording my first episode, and like literally like 25 new podcasts come out like 1 month, all about all that shit. And I'm like, screw that. I'm not doing this. And so I sat there and I'm like, what do I have a passion for? What do I love? What can I talk about all day? And I'm like, it was just like right in front of my face the whole time. And I'm like, not even like really thinking about it. And, I'm like, the beard community, I'm like, I should do a podcast about that. So like about mid 2015, about September 2015, I guess that's more than mid, but I really like put my nose down and like built a website, came up with the whole concept and started recording some stuff. And December of 2015, January 2016 is when I launched the Beardcaster podcast. And that was pretty much my passion for the past, 3-4 years. Other than that, I mean, I was into music and stuff like that before I got into the bearding thing. I was actually tour managing. I was out touring with bands. I was flying around to different cities all over the country, managing bands, managing clubs. It was so much fun. Like I got to meet so many great people. I pretty much was like flying out to a different city each weekend, scouting bands. I couldn't, getting everything paid for and just watching bands all weekend long. It was just awesome. And of course, meeting tons and tons of bearded guys like all over the country. And, you know, it was like, hey, you know, there's this brotherhood that I was feeling back then in the late 2000s, early 2010s and stuff like that. And I just really like that. At the same time, too, I was in a band. We were playing around Cleveland and stuff. It never took off, but I mean, it was one of my big passions and stuff like that. But yeah, it was always like music and podcasting and beard stuff that has pretty much been like all the big important things in my life over the past probably 20 years or so.
So who are some of the most memorable people that you've met because of your podcast?
Memorable people. Well, number one would have to be Aaron. I cannot forget him, unfortunately. I try to all the time, but it's like always like 25 times a day, my phone's binging and it's him. What are you doing? What's going on? And then I talk to him like 35 times a day, do a show. I mean, Aaron by far has been the best thing that's happened to me out of the whole entire beard thing. Gosh, you know, certain people, I've met so many great people. Like, it's just really hard to like, I mean, I've met hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. It's really tough to kind of put my finger on favorites. So, I mean, I guess I would say, or memorable, we'll just put it that way. I mean, oh, I'll think about this one a little bit more, but by far the answer to that question is Aaron.
All right. So, what's your favorite kind of candy?
I do not like candy. I do not like sweets.
Boo.
Oh, I know.
Boo.
A lot of people say that. I've never been a fan of candy. I don't like cake. I don't like pie. I don't like ice cream. On occasion, I will have any one of those things, but like maybe like a bite of a candy bar, and that's it. That's it.
Special occasions like a blue moon, birthday, wedding, bat mitzvah,
All
something
right.
like
So
that.
I will. My favorite cake is German chocolate. My favorite candy bar would probably be Almond Joy or Mounds. I like coconut. So other than that, yeah, I'm not a big sweets person.
How about your favorite drink?
Well, water. I drink a lot of that.
Yeah, that's nature. That's like cloud piss. You can't say water is your favorite drink. If Aaron just said yesterday that if you're drinking water, if your favorite drink is water, then you're one of the most boring people on the planet. So
See, he knows me. He knows me. He knows I'm
he,
one of the most boring people on the planet.
he knew this was coming, didn't he?
We talked. He's like, okay, say this for this question. Say that. No, honestly, like I just like, in the past I've covered, not covered. The word I'm looking for is I have had kidney stones, and it was due to what I was led to believe, like drinking too much like colas and sugary drinks and stuff. So one of the things is you really got to keep your kidneys like flushed out and stuff like that. So I just completely cut all that stuff out for the most part and just was water, just water, just so you can keep flushing your kidneys out all the time. But I mean, of course I like beer though too. So I mean, that's like pretty much water as well. Then it has a little bit of alcohol in it and stuff. I like coffee. So yeah, I mean, I'm a bourbon guy, bourbon scotch guy. You know, I like that too. My dad and I, that's one of our things that my dad and I partake in together is we'll share a good scotch or a bourbon together. It's always like I buy him a bottle for his birthday or Father's Day or Christmas. He buys me a bottle for my birthday, Christmas, and you know we'll just go back and forth. And you know it was something that we discovered once he retired because my dad and I really didn't have like, I mean, he worked a lot, so we didn't have a lot of together time while I was growing up. So once he retired, it was like making up for a lot of that. And we found that one thing that really brought us together. So it's been kind of nice. It's been like a really good bonding experience for him and I.
All right. What's your biggest pet peeve? And don't say Aaron Johnson.
My biggest pet peeve. I don't want to say because then it will start forcing people to do it to me. And if they start doing it to me, I'll end up punching someone in the face. So I'm not going to say what it is.
Is it poop talk?
No, no.
I heard that was a sensitive subject for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, some guys are like fart humor guys. I'm not like that. I've never been like that. I don't know. It's been one of those weird things my whole entire life where it's never been a culture that I've ever like found amusing or was at all interested in. I mean, I don't know. And all my friends make fun of me about it too. And of course, then they tease me and taunt me about it. And like he does all the time. And stupid Matt, whatever. But pet peeve though, geez. That's a real tough one, like right off the top of my head. But like I said, I do have one thing that just annoys the everlasting crap out of me, but I don't even want to say what it is because it's like, it's one of those things that takes me from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour into anger so fast that I don't even want to let that cat out of the bag.
All right, fair enough. What's your favorite cartoon of all time?
Well, let me see. Well, growing up as a child of the 80s, I always remember in the mornings watching, of course, G.I. Joe, Transformers, all that stuff. But it's tough to say because as I got older, there was more cartoons that came out that I started really getting into. Invader Zim, of course, was another one of my favorites. And then, getting older, like The Simpsons come out. I never was into The Simpsons, not into Family Guy. I know there are some things that I do watch, but for the life of me, actually right now we're super big into the Clone Wars cartoon. Like I really am digging that.
I liked it until, have you finished it yet?
Yeah, I'm all done.
Oh my, that ending pissed me off so much. How it's just like,
yeah. I mean, it could have ended a little differently, but it leaves the whole story open.
I guess that there's another series on Disney Plus where it
Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, it picks up right where Clone Wars left off.
Yeah, there's Star Wars Rebels too. We've been starting on that one. Not knowing how I feel about that one quite yet. We're about halfway through season 1 on that, but yeah, pretty much anything Star Wars, man. I can't go wrong with any of that stuff.
If I can make a recommendation for you, you should definitely check out Gravity Falls. No?
Gravity does not fall. It causes things to fall. That's a really dumb name for a show.
They were thinking a really dumb name for a show.
I know.
That was good. That one is definitely that one's my top. It's got so much adult humor in it that goes over kids' heads, but at the same time, it's right along parallel with Invader Zim.
All right.
With the humor of it. It's really dark humor, but it's on Disney. And a lot of the same voices from Rick and Morty.
Oh, I do
in it as well.
My favorite cartoon would be the Regular Show.
Regular Show's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So if you could have lunch with anyone in history, dead or alive, who would it be?
Nikola Tesla.
That's a good one.
I've already had this one all planned out for years and years. So he's the one person I would love to meet more than anyone in the entire, I just think he is such a brilliant scientist that just kind of got the shit end of the stick with a lot of the stuff that who knows what to believe in the whole history of what happened with him and Edison and Westinghouse and all that stuff with, all that crap that happened in the early 1900s. And, you see all different documentaries that are glorifying what Edison did. And you see documentaries about Tesla, that are claiming that, Edison was ripping stuff off from Tesla and Westinghouse is, ripping Tesla off, and then the government's stealing stuff from Tesla, and he just never, got the accolades that I feel that he should have. I mean, even with Marconi and the radio, and Marconi getting the patent on the radio, but come to find out that Marconi was using parts that were patented by Tesla to build that radio. I mean, it just, there's so many weird stories about, all the different things that's happened in his life. And, you don't know what to believe. It's just like news nowadays. It's like, what history do you believe? What do you? But I mean, it's an interesting story. So hence why it would be interesting to have, I'd sit down and have a meal with him to be like, what's the scoop, man? What really happened? What have you done? What have these people taken from you? What have you invented that you haven't let people know about? Is there really a death ray? What about, wireless electricity? What's this all about? I want to know all about these cool things and stuff. That's why I just think he would be like the most ultimate person to like have dinner with.
I actually collect light bulbs, and I'm currently saving up right now for one of the original light bulbs that he invented. It was like actually in his hands.
Wow. How much is that?
It is $14,000. My girl is so mad because we're saving up for a house right now. And she's like, you're going to buy that light bulb before we buy a house? I'm like, no, I'm saving up for it. Like $5 every week, just pointing it to the side. And she's like, I swear, if you buy a $14,000 light bulb, I will leave you.
I'd be able to put your kid through college maybe in 20 years. You could always say it that way. It could be you're investing in the future.
That she won't buy that. That's what I told her with all these Funkos.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, those are.
I'm kind of afraid it's going to go the way of the Beanie Baby, though. Like, they're going to make so many of them, and then eventually it's just going to plateau, and they're going to be worth nothing.
Probably just like baseball cards in the mid-90s.
Mm-hmm. So, what is something you wish you could learn to be better at?
One thing that I wish I could learn how to be, I wish I knew how to do videography. I wish I was better at like photography and videography, I guess. I really dug in with photography many years ago and loved it. Took so many pictures and learned so much. And now with technology advancing like it is, and with the world becoming more of an online kind of place, and with us, you, myself, getting into the whole online realm of video and stuff like that. Just trying to do things to up my game to like just be better than the next guy. And learning the technology and learning the software to be able to just, effortlessly edit and video and record things remotely and just do all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I guess that's superficial. I mean, if I were to, I guess, pick something that I would want to be better at, I guess I'd probably want to be a better lover. How about that?
That's a good one.
No.
I'll allow it. So, are you more of a morning person or a night owl?
Kind of fluctuates. Like when I was real heavy into the podcasting stuff, it was put the kid to bed at 9 and then work on podcasting stuff till like 2:00 in the morning, and then get up early for work and work all day, come home, do stuff with the kid and the wife, and then every day. So I was a night person, but then now it's like I'm getting a little older and I slow down at like 9-10 o'clock, and it's like, I go to bed early, and then it's like I don't want to get up in the morning. So, but I am definitely more of a morning person. I like the mornings. I like getting up and like getting going.
All right. So, what's an odd talent that you have?
Odd talent that I have. I can do a really good impersonation of Christopher Walken meowing like a cat.
Okay, let's hear it.
Ready?
Oh, I was born ready.
Meow.
One more time? I didn't quite get that.
Meow.
All right, so I have some would you rather questions.
Yes.
Uh I know your job currently is an outdoor job, but would you rather have a desk job or stay with an outdoor job?
Well, at this moment in my life, part of me would rather have a desk job, but I like the ability to be in a different place every day. I like being outside. It sucks in the wintertime. I'd rather be inside at the wintertime, but at the same time during the summertime, it's nice to be outside. But then when it's really hot, I wish I was in air conditioning. So it's kind of a crapshoot, but I guess I would still stay outside.
Would you rather be proposed to in private or in front of family and friends?
Well, that's a really interesting concept. Being proposed to by a girl would be pretty awesome, and I don't really care. So, any which way would be good. But if I had to pick one, I would say probably in front of family and friends because that would show that they're extremely confident in what they're doing.
Would you rather hear good news or the bad news first?
Is there always one or the other? Is it both? Is it
If you were
so?
going to
I'm
be
going
if you were going to be told good news and bad news, which one would you want first?
bad, then good,
End on a high note.
and on a high note.
Would you rather have nosy neighbors or noisy neighbors?
Well, I've had nosy neighbors and I hate that. So I'd rather have noisy neighbors.
Would you rather be on a survival reality show or a dating game show?
Oh, I would kill on a dating game show. I'd be so good. I'd win. I'd win everything. I'm so handsome. Did you not see me today?
Oh, I did. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Would you rather be too busy or be too bored?
Too busy. I like being busy. I like having stuff to do. I like having a full schedule every day. I like just always like wondering what the next move is and always trying to come up with new things. So I'm always constantly busy.
All right. So would you rather watch the big game at a bar or live at the stadium?
Which big game? Because it all depends.
I don't know. What are you a fan of?
Things that blow.
So
Said fan.
NASCAR.
No, God, no. The big, I like that. The big NASCAR games on today. They'd be like, Aaron, you want to go watch the big NASCAR game go down to the Regal Beagle? Well, I'm not a huge fan of football, nor am I of basketball or baseball. I like hockey. So I've been to Stanley Cup playoff games, and those are pretty intense. So I would say going to a playoff game, like the big game, going to a bar, you just don't get the same feeling. Like going to an actual arena where like I went to a Penguins playoff game and it was so insane. Just so much energy there.
Back when the Coyotes were still good, I went to it was like game 6 between them and the LA Kings. And it was like a minute and a half left. The refs didn't see a hit that happened that was like completely out of place. Like this dude just rammed into one of the Coyotes players and they scored right after that. And everybody was just throwing trash onto the ice at the LA Kings. And I was one of those people. I took my soda, just chucked it at them, everything I had, the playbook that they give you when you walk in the stadium. I had everything. Like I almost threw my jacket down there at them.
That would have sucked because then you would have been cold when you left.
It's Arizona. It doesn't get cold here.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes, you were right. It does not.
All right. So last question. Can you tell us a joke?
Yes. Aaron D Johnston. The end.
All right. We'll see how he reacts to that one.
No, okay. Seriously though. How do you know if you have Amish hillbillies as a neighbor?
I don't know how.
They have a dead horse up on blocks in their front yard.
Oh God. All right. Well, Sykora, thank you very much. Oh, that joke. Now I have an image of like an upside down horse
Yep,
on
on
blocks
blocks.
with like grass growing up around it. It hasn't started to break down or
No.
go bad. It's just completely intact horse with like the crosses over its eyes with his tongue
Like
sticking
very,
out.
yeah, very cartoony.
All right. Well, thanks again for doing this. I really appreciate it. Do you want to talk about talking beards for a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone hasn't heard of either Aaron or myself, we do a show called Talking Beards. It's live every Tuesday night. Pardon me, 8 p.m. Eastern. We do it live on Facebook. So it's talkingbeards.com slash sorry, facebook.com/talkingbeards, or you can find us at talkingbeards.com. Basically, we are a show that covers the beard and mustache community, and basically we talk about all different charity stuff, competitions. We have guests on, we do trivia, we give away stuff from Honest Amish. It's just pretty much a entertainment news shows. We just kind of cover all different types of topics that are kind of affecting the whole beard and mustache community, the club scene and stuff like that. So yeah, so if anyone's into that, we also repurpose it into a podcast called Talking Beards with the Beardcaster, which the Beardcaster was originally my podcast for the first 70 some episodes, and then once I started doing Talking Beards, I kind of switched the name over and incorporated Talking Beards into it. So we're into 100 and where did that post-it note go? 156 episodes so far. So I've been going for over 4 years now. We'll be 5 years in January. So yeah, if you want to do that, we're available on every single platform you can listen to podcasts on. So you can find it anywhere.
And on Fridays, you guys do F It Friday, right?
Yeah, and F it, we're not doing anything tonight. That's our whole mantra tonight. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, about that too. We decided as we kept talking to our friends and stuff, and they were doing shows and stuff like that, we're like, you know what, let's kind of network Talking Beards, and we'll invite people to come on our channel and utilize our crowd that we've built over the past 3 years, and get their shows out and get them in front of a bigger audience right off the bat, to help them build their audience and build their shows and stuff like that. So each day of the week we've been trying to do a different show. And so Monday nights, every other Monday nights, we do the Texas Craft Whisker Club show, which super awesome show. It's great. Tisha and Natalie came up with such a great idea for a show. And what it is it's basically two people go head to head on making a craft whisker beard, provided by a random person that mails them a box of matching things, and they get 1 hour to cut that box open and construct the beard. So it's a really fun time. It's really stressful, and just trying to be creative like that, like really quick and everything, especially when a lot of these girls that are whiskerinas who make these really intricate beards will spend weeks and weeks and weeks designing these things and making them, and here you get 60 minutes to do it. And it's like it's a lot of fun though, because it's like it just puts you on the spot, and it's like so it's a really cool. And then Tuesday nights is Talking Beards, and then Wednesday nights is, I can never remember the damn name of the show, but it's a beard mob show with Monty and gosh darn it, I'm so brain dead. But yeah, so Wednesday nights we do a beard mob show. Thursday nights we have Talking Beards, which our friend Matt McLeod, from Talking or Beard. I'm like
Beard Laws.
Beard Laws. Dude, I'm so sorry, everyone. I got so much stuff going through my head right now. But yeah, so Beard Laws is a show that's been going on for a while. Matt and I became friends. He reached out to me a while ago, and I tried to help guide him with how to do live streaming and podcasting and stuff like that. We became fast friends, and ever since then we just real close, and I love him to death. He's a great guy. His show is awesome. I love what he does. And so then Aaron's like, well, let's do something Friday. And we're like, well, what? He's like, I don't know, F it. So it's like F it Friday is pretty much a free for all. So we're just kind of doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't know. There might be trivia on tonight at 9:00 Eastern. So I don't really know what's going to happen tonight. Maybe I'll even pop on and do a show for who knows. I don't know. It's just kind of whatever happens, happens.
All right. Well, Scott, thank you very much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Hey, nope. I appreciate you having me on here, and I appreciate you having Aaron on yesterday, but that's real cool that you had him on before me. Alphabetical.
I originally had him on next week.
Tomorrow.
But he was like, oh, no, I've got a competition next week. I can't do it. So I'm like, all right, let me know when you can do it. And then I didn't hear from him. So I'm like, dude, you still there? And he was like, I'm available tonight. I was like, all right, let's do it tonight.
His competition next week is a tampon inserting competition. He's got to figure out how to use a tampon, and if he does it good, he wins. That's the competition he's doing next week. Don't let him fool you.
Well, I hope he does a good job because I'm confused on how he's going to do it.
He has a vagina.
A mangina?
Yeah, he's a little girl. We'll just put it that way. Aaron's a girl. He's a sissy squat to pee.
Hey. As a chef, sometimes sitting down to pee is the only way I get a break to sit down throughout my entire shift.
Chef Boyardee, I knew I recognized you from somewhere. You just didn't have your hat on.
My big red Benihana hat that I throw shrimp tails in.
Sweet. I want some more sake.
Well, see, we weren't allowed to pour alcohol into people's mouths. We actually got in trouble because someone accused us of giving them too much vodka in the onion volcano. And we would take out about half a shot, and that had to last us 2 tables. So we poured a half of the shot into it, lit it on fire, and then we'd mix it in with all the other vegetables after we did the onion volcano and the choo-choo train with it. And someone's like, oh yeah, I got a DUI because of the onions at Benihana, when we light it on fire and burn the alcohol off of it. So for the longest time, they're like, yeah, no, just don't even bother with it. And me and my friends are like, yeah, you're going to cut into our money if we do that. Like, people are going to get genuinely pissed if we don't do a fire onion volcano. So
that's why people go there.
Yeah, so we would bring our own vodka, sneak it onto our carts and pour it in, do the onion volcano, and then throw away the onion and not even serve it to them. If people are like, what are you doing with that onion? It's like, oh, sorry, it's against protocol. We're not allowed to serve it to you. But really, it's like, no, just, I want your money, please.
Yeah, that's awesome. In fact, I was just listening to a podcast yesterday. It's called The Office Ladies. Have you heard of this one?
No.
It's Pam and Angela from The Office. They do a podcast right now, and it's all about the Office, the TV show. And they go through each episode. And the last one they just did was the Benihana Christmas special. So they were talking about the biggest problem they had with shooting that whole episode was getting the onion volcano to actually have smoke come out of it. Hours they would try to shoot this scene to try to get like smoke to come out of it, and they said screw it after a while, and they ended it. They added the smoke in post and everything with CGI because they couldn't get it to smoke right so that you could see it on the camera. So I just thought it was fun.
All right, well, thanks again for doing this. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
And I will definitely be watching F It Friday tonight. So
if there's something on, well, probably might be watching by yourself.
Yeah, sitting in the dark with a glass of Chardonnay.
Oh, you're fancy.
No, it'll probably be a hard seltzer, but it will be in the dark.
What's your favorite hard seltzer?
I like the Truly passion fruit.
Yes, awesome. Trulies are great.
Yeah, because White Claw is super expensive, and it tastes like they use like artificial sweeteners in it, and artificial sweeteners hurt my tum-tum. So,
poor little baby.
Yeah, I can't do like Gatorade zero sugar or zero sugar Red Bull, like Aaron said. He said that was one of his favorite drinks was zero sugar Red Bull.
Yeah, he's dumb.
All right. Well, I'll I'll talk to you later.
All right, bud. I
And
appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. So that was Scott Sykora. Thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or anyone that you want to see interviewed, go ahead and comment below or just like and subscribe. You don't even have to do that. Like, I'm going to keep doing it whether or not you guys like or subscribe because this is way too fun. Thanks again and have a good night.